Do you want to know how to enroll the leads that you have in half the time that you usually enroll them in? This video is for you if you answered yes. Hey, everybody, my name is Jennifer Waters. I'm one of the co founders of Seven Figure Dojo, and I'm the CEO. And I help martial arts schools, dance schools, music, acting schools, and academies be able to turn their passion into profit. We've been working with schools since 2020, but before that, the reason why I actually know what I'm talking about is I took my family school and we went from a few $1,000s a month to over $1 million a year in 4.5 years. We did that 15 years ago. And ever since then, we've been hitting multiple 7-figure years. And now I share that information for free to help schools and academies. And then those of you that want to work more closely with me, I actually have clients. We're currently working in 5 different countries, I believe it is: US, Canada, the UK, 4 different countries, and Australia. And so I help clients around the world. My team does a fantastic job being able to help not only with the systems and the strategy, but also with the marketing efforts to make sure we're generating the leads that you need to turn into enrollments. Most recently, we had one of our clients, Steve. He went from he was just getting started. He went and he enrolled 90 students in 90 days. That's one student a day. Can you imagine that? What if you added 90 students in 90 days? How would that change your life? Probably pretty dramatically. So let me share with you what I actually did with my team to work with him on that. So let's dive into it. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to be working on the fast follow-up framework. The fast follow-up framework. So I want to talk to you guys about why timing matters, and why this is super, super important for you to really consider. When you get a lead, I want you to make sure that you're thinking about the fact that they have a million other things to think about. A million other things. The attention span right now has been uh, basically the equivalent has been given that our generation has an attention span closer and similar to a goldfish. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? We have the attention span of a goldfish. So when that lead comes in and you leave it sitting there for an entire day and then you call them back the next day and they don't pick up and you give up on that lead, they're gone. You wasted your money. It's very important that you follow up on a lead within the first 5 minutes. You might be thinking, oh my gosh, Jen, how do I do that? Well, leveraging technology is super important to be able to do that. A lot of our clients actually leverage our AI technology. We actually built a whole entire AI employee that works on behalf of the clients to reach out to those leads, because the leads might be, or the clients might be teaching class. And so it's very important to leverage technology, especially AI. Now that we have it, that stuff from before where it's an auto response or something like that, that's old stuff. People know it's an auto response, and they also are not willing to give more information. They're thinking to themselves, this is just an autoresponder. So you need to follow up within the first 5 minutes. And the thing that I like to say is really focus on the 3-2-1 follow-up method. We want to hit somebody in 3 times in the same day, 3 phone calls. We want to send them 2 text messages. And then we also want to make sure we're leaving 1 voicemail. We do this for 3 days straight so we can really pump out the maximum amount of follow-up in a short window of time, especially if you don't have a lot of staff to follow up on those leads longer term. So the fast follow-up framework, so important that you do it. 3-2-1, 3 phone calls, 2 text messages a day, 1 voicemail. Make sure you do that at some point during those calls. You leave a text message and then you leave a voicemail on one of those calls, usually the call at the end of the day, in order to make sure we're getting the leads and following up on them. Now, once you get a lead on the phone, I've got a question for you. Do you have a systematic method for actually getting that lead to book an appointment with you to come into your school? Make sure you comment system. If you've got a system in place, I want to know how many of you have a system in place. Go ahead and comment that in. If you don't have a system in place, that's your first step. Again, we work with our clients on this. We actually map out a complete and entire script. So if you haven't done that step yet, you're going to want to make sure you have that in place, not just for future school owner that has a staff of 20 people, but for you right now, in whatever circumstance that you're in, when someone's engaging with you, We want to make sure we're saying the same thing over and over again, because then it's trackable. We can determine from what we've done. If we say it over and over again and we have a percentage that we can track, now we're able to see, you know what? When I said that one thing, I got more people to book an appointment. I should always say that one thing. So utilize that script to help make sure you're booking people in. Now, a huge tip, I actually said this in my training video last week. So if you didn't watch it, make sure you go back and check out last week's video on how to add a crazy amount of adult students to your school. But what I did talk about is it talked about you need to be booking in leads really fast, especially adults. You need to be getting them in 24 to 48 hours. You could stretch up to 72 hours for a parent of a child. The child's coming in for an introductory lesson, but man, you're going to get so many more people to say yes and show up if you can get it within a 24 to 48 hour window, because there's so many other distractions that are out there. So many other reasons why someone's going to say, no, I just can't make it in today. We want to eliminate those reasons. And the more convenient your appointment times are, the greater the chance is for that person to actually show up. I've had some people in the past say, oh, I can't get anybody. None of the parents will show up with their kids for the introductory lesson. I think something's wrong with the marketing. And we dig in and we look and come to find out the introductory lessons are held at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The problem with that is that most schools let out between 3:30 and 4 o'clock. So that means the mom has to pick up the kid from school, has to get them in the car, maybe get them a snack, and then get them over to an introductory lesson. A lot of parents aren't able to make all of that happen within that window of time. So ensuring that the lesson is at the appropriate time and the most likely time that someone would find it convenient is going to increase the opportunities that you have. So it's going to decrease the amount of time it takes to enroll somebody, because you've increased the amount of and the capacity that you have to teach a lesson at a convenient time. I hope that's making sense. Let me know in the comments if you're getting value out of this. Just drop value down there for me as well. Now, once we get them in the door, we need to have a sales conversation that makes the enrollment decision pretty easy. I'm going to talk with you about the 3D selling framework in just a moment. The first D of the 3D selling framework is discovery. What that essentially means is this is your sales conversation. This is the first part that you have to talk about so you can get this person actually telling you why they chose you, why they chose martial arts, and more importantly, so that you can use it for the following 2 Ds that I'm going to talk about here in just a moment. The 3 questions that you should be asking that lead when they come in is why martial arts, or why music, or why dance, or whatever it is that you teach. You need to ask them why. Why not something else? Very important you ask this. But we need to genuinely know, what is this lead thinking about what gives us the edge? And we want the lead to also say and convince themselves that we have the edge. Once we can do that, we can get this person selling themselves on the fact that, yeah, martial arts is better than soccer. Martial arts is better than football, because they're verbalizing it. Now, when we say it later, we're not telling the lead something that they don't already know. We're affirming something that they guessed to be true. Second thing, how long has this been going on? We need to find out. If they come to you and they say, well, I thought martial arts might help my child with focus. Okay, cool. And then we dig in a little bit more. How long has this been affecting your child? Has this been recent, or has it been quite a while? We need to know, is this an acute condition or is this a chronic problem? Because the way that we treat acute things versus chronic things are different. The way we will diagnose, that's the second D. I gave it away a little early. Shoot. But we're going to get back to that in a second. I'm going to hold on to the third D until the end. We want to know, is this an acute condition or is this a chronic condition? Is this something that is really going to impact them for the long term? Is this something that can be reversed pretty easily? The third question that we want to ask is, what happens if nothing changes? When we ask this question, we get that prospect to enter the space where maybe they haven't considered it before. If nothing changes to Susan's confidence, what will happen to her in the next year or two? Do you see her improving, or do you see her staying the same, or do you see it deteriorating, getting worse? We need to know, and we want the lead to start thinking about the future, so that when we get to the second part, which is diagnose, we can help paint a different picture. So the second D is diagnose. Like I've said, we want to make sure that the lead understands exactly what their child excels at and also what their child needs help in. Most of the time, this happens during some sort of introductory lesson and evaluation process. So you would teach the introductory lesson, you would do the evaluation, you would do all those steps in order to actually enroll someone into your school. And you would diagnose what exactly is going on with this student and also give them an action plan. What are the things that they would need to improve upon or they would need to work on? It's up to this person to choose whether or not they're going to do it with you, but these are the things that you need to do. Kind of similar if you were to go to a doctor, the doctor asks you a bunch of questions, the doctor diagnoses you. The doctor says, hey, you need to exercise at least 3 times a week. You need to make sure that you cut out saturated fats. You need to make sure that you're eating clean. That's the action plan. It's up to you. The implementation could be different if that doctor also said, and I also will help you do these things. Does that make sense? Hopefully that's making sense to you guys. Let's go to the last D, decision. The whole entire point of the conversation is to lead this prospect to a decision. The thing about decisions is they're really easy to make when you have all the necessary information to make a decision. So when someone says to you, I need to think about it, really, they're telling themselves, I don't have all the information necessary to make an informed decision. We want to give them that necessary information. We also want them to understand that today is the day to make a decision. And here's why. So we lay those things out for that lead. That lead then can make that informed decision and can get started the same day. Because a lead that tells you they're going to think about it and they walk out the door, probably not coming back in to your classes. So go ahead and get them to make the decision today. So the 3 Ds are, we want to make sure that we discover what's going on, we diagnose what the issue is, and then we lead them to the decision. Now, guys, next week, I want to let you guys know we are doing a deep dive on the 3 biggest mistakes that will kill your growth in 2025. And if you are making the mistakes that we're going to uncover next week, I'm going to show you how to actually fix them. So here's what I want you to do. If you found value in today's conversation, drop value in the comments for me. Share this video with somebody. That would be fantastic. And make sure you're back here next Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be going over how to fix those issues that might pop up and bite you if you don't do something.